Rational Americans presents How to Protect American Democracy and Our Economy. Our mission is to provide candidates and legislators with solutions and reforms that will appeal to the majority of American voters, regardless of party affiliation. For example, the United States is being strangled by a growing $22 trillion debt. We need revenue to fund healthcare, education, infrastructure, national security, and solvent government. However, our tax code is rigged to favor wealthy donors, corporations, and special interests. 80% of American wealth is owned by the top 10%. Our government is broke and starving for revenue. Here's the outrage. In 2011, collectively, corporations paid less than 1% in taxes. This year, thanks to the Trump-McConnell tax cuts, they will pay even less. The 2019 federal budget is over $4.4 trillion. The projected revenue is $3.4 trillion. The deficit this year will be $985 billion. That means that this year we will be adding almost $1 trillion to the national debt. In fiscal year 2018, American taxpayers paid $523 billion in debt interest. By the end of the first quarter of this year, we had already paid $192 billion. At this rate, by the end of this fiscal year, we will have paid almost $800 billion in debt interest. These billions paid in interest can be better spent in this country. Don't you agree? It's time for rational solutions. In fact, what we need is a permanent solution which is designed to keep the hands of the politicians and their campaign donors off the tax code for good. It's time we adopted a tax code designed to generate the revenue needed to fund our nation's needs and pay off this absurd debt. This can be done. How do we do this? The Fair Automatic Simple Tax, also known as the FAST tax. That's how. The FAST tax model has 7 columns. The first column is the income class column, which is broken down into 8 income classes, starting from 0 income to $10 million and above. Columns 2 and 3 are the income level columns. Column 4 is the permanent tax rate column. Column 5 is the debt reduction rate, or DRR column. Column 6 is the combined permanent and DRR rates column, the rate actually paid by taxpayers. And column 7 is the payoff years column. At the bottom of the model, we have 4 cells. These are the rates used to set the deficit reduction rate, tax rates, and the number of years required to automatically pay off the national debt. The first cell is the permanent rate, which shows a 2% default rate. The second cell is the difference between classes, which shows a 2.9% default rate. The third cell is the permanent corporate rate, which shows a 6.5% default rate. The fourth cell is the deficit reduction rate, which shows a 30% default rate. The FAST tax consists of 2 rates, the permanent rate 2% to 19.4%, and the debt reduction rate, which is a small temporary fraction of the permanent rate. The DRR activates automatically when there is a national debt and disappears when the national debt is paid off. The key to tax reform: eliminate deductions, loopholes, and special credits. This is how the wealthy avoid paying their fair share. With the FAST tax, all deductions, special credits, and loopholes are eliminated. All income is taxable. FAST keeps politicians' hands off the tax code. The $22 trillion debt is gradually paid off in about 10 years. FAST rates are based on IRS statistics, not voodoo economics. FAST lowers tax rates for all taxpayers, including corporations. FAST generates revenue needed to fund healthcare, education, infrastructure, national security, etc. FAST saves billions in national debt interest, IRS publications, postage, and so on. For most employed and self-employed taxpayers, federal income tax return filing would become a thing of the past. So how does the DRR rate affect debt payoff? Here are 3 scenarios. In scenario 1, the DRR is set to 30% of the permanent rate, and the top rate is 25.22%. The national debt payoff is 10 years. In scenario 2, when the DRR is set to 20%, the top rate goes down to 23.28%, and the national debt payoff goes up to 13 years. In scenario 3, when the DRR is set to 10%, the top rate then goes down to 21.34%, and the national debt payoff years goes up to 19. And here's what we get: no more deficits, no more debt or interest, fiscal responsibility, and solvent government. Solvency would once again make the United States the dependable leader of the free world, on which world peace depends. A solvent United States would be better able to challenge Chinese and Russian expansionism throughout the world. Here's the thing: once FAST is adopted, healthcare, education, infrastructure, and other necessary programs can be addressed immediately because the national debt will automatically go down every year until it is paid off. No more excuses. Before we go, a word to those who work so hard to protect our democracy and endeavor to bring a sense of normalcy, equality, and opportunity to all the members of our great American society. We must stop purity tests. Purity tests, personality cults, empty visions, and the same old rhetoric are what got us where we are. Don't be fooled. Call out politicians who go around promising all things to all people with no clue as to how they are going to pay for what they offer. Thanks for watching. Visit us at www.rationalamericans.org.